All right, so good evening, everyone. I'll be discussing today sales and telemarketing. So, for the sales, what is sales? Sales are the activities involved in selling products or services in return for money and other compensation. It is an act of completion for commercial activity. The deal is closed means the customer has consented to the proposed product service by making full or partial payment as in case of installment to the seller. So that is the main meaning of sales. Now there is a selling process. First, prospecting and qualifying, approach, presentation, handling objection, and closing. Now let's go through it one by one. Now for the selling process, prospecting and qualifying. In this step, in the selling process in which the salesperson identifies qualified potential customers. An example of this one class is if you're in certain mall here in Tacloban or maybe in our mall, and then some of the sales associates were actually calling you, ma'am, do you need a phone? We have here the phone that probably you've been looking for. So this sales associate will actually thinking that you can be one of the prospect or qualified customer or potential customer that they need. Next, the pre-approach. This is the step in the selling process in which the salesperson learns as much as possible about a prospective customer before making a sales call. So this is the meaning of the approach. This is the step of selling process in which the salesperson learns as much as possible about the prospective customers. Probably the sales associate will actually ask the question what this potential customer he or she needs. Next, the third step is the selling process is approach, in which the salesperson presents himself to the customer. Here, the salesperson meets and greets the buyer to get relationship off to a good start. So what does it mean? As you can see, maybe you yourself or some of the sales associate um, has this impression that they are keep on smiling, the appearance, and also they're greeting you. They're really friendly the way they approach you as the customer. Next, for the fourth step, we have the presentation. So the step in selling process in which the salesperson tells the product story to the buyer, showing how the product will make or save money for the buyer. So one of the good thing that you can show to the customer about the item that you're selling, if you yourself as a sales associate or the customer service representative of that item, is you are using those products because you can show off an example that me myself ma'am I can tell you that this product of ours is really effective. Okay, so this is what it means that the salesperson tells the product the story to the buyer. Next we have the fifth step, handling objection. In handling objection, the salesperson should use a positive approach, seek out hidden objective, ask the buyer to clarify any objections. So take objection as opportunities to provide more information and turn the objection into reason for buying. There are customers who object a certain item or they don't want to buy a certain item because some of them don't need the item itself. All right, but some of the customer actually need the item, but it so happened the way you approach them, the way you tell the story, and the way you present the item is not that good, then the customer itself will not be interested. So if you see yourself that you did not do good in presenting the item, then make it um, a reason for buying or do something. Make it an opportunity uh, for the customer to buy the product next time. Okay, and next we have the step is closing. The next step is closing, wherein this salesperson asks the customer for an order. So some salespeople do not get around to the closing or do not handle it well. They may lack confidence, feel guilty about asking for order, or fail to recognize the right moment to close the sale. So how you'll be able to see that the item has been sold? If the customer already paid the item, okay, so you should be as well thankful that this customer has been interested, the way you approach them, the way you present the item. Then probably you feel guilty in a way that tell story that is a lie. You're using white lies the way this item has been used or maybe effective. That's why you feel guilty. But you should not. I'm telling you, if you are a sales associate, you should also try the item that you are uh, selling. And the last one is the follow up. The last step in the selling process in which the salesperson follow up after the sale to ensure customer satisfaction and repeat business. So what does it mean? So for the follow up, there are establishments, not just maybe here in Tacloban, but maybe some parts of the Philippines that they are handling this kind of evaluation form of how was this customer representative handled you. Then it is somewhat what we call follow up, and also they're gonna give you a call to ask or give a rating to the certain customer service representative. All right, so that is those are the selling process. So as I said, prospecting and qualifying first, second pre-approach, third approach, fourth presentation of the item, fifth, how you will handle the objection, and last, closing. Okay, I need you to remember those terms, class. Next on the list, telemarketing. So what is telemarketing? Telemarketing is a method of direct marketing in which a salesperson uses the telephone to solicit prospective customers to buy products or services, either over the phone or through a subsequent face-to-face web conferencing appointment scheduled during the call. And telemarketing can also include recorded sales speeches programmed to be played over the phone via automatic dialing. So there are categories of telemarketing. We have business to business or business to consumer. The subcategories are lead generation, sales, outbound, and inbound. Now, for the telemarketing, it is more on kaya sales and lead generation. Now, when we say lead generation, this account is very tricky as well. And then why? Because there is a quota for a certain uh, shift. For example, if you've been part of a lead generation account, then you need to call about maybe 50 people. If you did not meet the quota, then you cannot receive a commission or incentive. Now, for the sales naman, so you need to sell an item. It depends on what item is it. So it is more on concentrated outbound. So when we say outbound, as I've discussed before, that this outbound call center or outbound calls, you have a script for this one. So you don't need to worry, but I need you to remember that this kind of account were actually quite medyo makore. Why? Because there is a quota that you need to achieve or get. Next, telemarketing versus direct selling. So what is the difference? For the telemarketing, is a more organized method of using the telephone for achieving desired business objective. Telesales is used to denote a full sales cycle from prospecting through the close, and for the direct or on-site selling is a face-to-face selling of a product to a customer. This usually requires the agent to inconveniently bring paraphernalia, sales kits, or flyers. So, um, That is the difference between telemarketing and direct or on-site selling. Now, for the telemarketing, it is more on being used in US. All right. Even me myself, I already have an experience of this kind of account. It's actually a sales, but more on a real estate. So we are calling these people in the middle of the night sometimes, and most of them, I guess, 60% of the call we are receiving mga drop calls because they don't want to talk with you. That is the challenge of this telemarketing because there some of them were not actually interested with the item that you are selling over the phone. So telemarketing versus direct selling. So telephone marketing is more efficient vehicle. First, sell products, introduce new product, provide speedy customer service, take orders, generate leads, set appointments, make trade shows for more profitable, and find out what your customers really think. Now, for the this is more on the telemarketing. For the take orders, so we know that some of us here in the Philippines, we're actually applying that one as well, not just in US. We are taking orders over the phone, order pizza, depends what you want to order, spaghetti probably, and then generate leads. It is more on lead generation. And for the set appointments, this is what we call mga appointment setter. Now when we say appointment setter, um, there is as well a quota for this one. What when I tried to apply with this kind of work before as a virtual assistant, but I don't like the way they compensate the agents. Why? Because you can only get three. It says should be $3 per hour, but it so happened when we're already taking calls, what they did is if you get an appointment, then that is only the time you're going to get a $3 per hour, which is not convenient on my part because we are paying for the load, paying for the electricity, and then you're giving out your energy. And then what if those customers were not interested and for the whole shift you can get an appointment? Then you're just wasting your time and energy with this kind of account. That is the challenge for the appointment setter, VA, mga virtual assistants. And next, make pre-shows more profitable and find out what your customer really think. For this, find out what your customer really think. It is more on follow-up of how was your customer service representative perform. Okay. Next, telephone impression checklist. So smile, state your name, company name, your attention, getting statement, full of energy and enthusiasm. I'm sorry. Be professional or courteous. Be pleasant. Seek to be understood, but also be an attentive listener. Be relaxed. Pause, think, and say what you want to say. Now, even if it's over the phone, still the customer can recognize if you are actually sleepy or not. Let me share with you. When I was taking call before, it so happened that I'm actually sleepy because I went to our office as early as 2 hours before my shift because there are actually mga agents na absent, and I was one chosen to be a reliever. So I'm 2 hours earlier with my original shift. So I was taking call already and I was so sleepy, and the way I actually answered the call to my voice is very sleepy. So the customer told me, "Are you sleepy?" And then I said, I mute the telephone, I mute the microphone, and then I uh, compose myself and then answer the customer. that no ma'am, I'm not. So I changed my voice into more an enthusiastic one. Okay, all right. So if you're gonna be taking calls, make sure that you have this energy, but not full energy in one call. Sakto lang. And remember, always mention your name and then the company name. Why? Because you need to mention the company name uh, so that the customer will be able to know if he or she is calling the right number. And also remember, be professional or courteous. Be pleasant always. Seek to be understood. Be an attentive listener. Don't just listen, because listening and being a listener is different. If you're just listening, which means you did not understood what the customer, he or she, is stating or saying to you. So you need to be an attentive listener. Uh, be relaxed, pause, think, and say what you want to say. So that that is all. Okay. Um, Next, we have here trying not to be intimidated by the other person's tone, because there are actually callers who are actually quite intimidated, because why? They are keep recursing to you, as I said and before, that 90% of the call that you will be receiving, or 90% of the call that you will be calling, some of them are actually keep increasing you, and it's their habit. Next, use gestures and the way you explain. Sound confident that you answer to the customers. Also, show awareness what the customer is saying. As I said earlier, be an attentive listener. Work continually on your presentation. Avoid reading a full scripted version. So if you're reading a script, so you need to avoid a full scripted version. So you need to sound confident, and it feels like that those words that came up to your mouth is actually came. You need to read it not very as invisible that you're reading the script. All right. Next, even if you don't make the sale today, the prospect is still a prospect. Leave a good lasting impression, and end with courtesy, follow up diligently. Okay. Now, relevant laws on telemarketing. First, we have here Telephone Consumer Act of 1991. So what does it mean? The TCPA is primary law in the US, governing the conduct of telephone solicitations, telemarketing. The TCPA restricts the use of automatic dialing system, artificial or pre-recorded voice messages, SMS text messages received by cell phones, and the use of fax machines to send unsolicited advertisements. It is also specifies several technical requirements of fax machines, auto dialers, and voice messaging system, principally with the provision requiring identification and contact information of the entity using device to be contained in the message. So that is the Telephone Consumer Act of 1991. Now for the at-risk law, a state of Oregon and Florida allows consumer to designate that they do not want to receive telemarketing calls. Because why? Um, some of them, they find it really inconvenient to the point that they don't want to be called by this kind of companies. They consider this spam or someone who's scamming them. So there is a $5 residence and $10 business fine for this one. And we have the last one, do not call list. If your company makes outbound sales call to consumers, it is required by federal regulation to keep a list of consumers who have requested not to receive calls from your company. But for this one, there is a trick of this company. Before, when I was taking call of one of the outbound call center here at Tacloban, um, when I already put the customer on the do not call list, it will be black on my account only, on my station only. But this number will be transferred to another uh, agent, and he or she will be calling that customer again. And these customer who actually getting angry and angry because the number is not yet on the do not call list. I don't know what's wrong with the system, or maybe there is something wrong with the system. That's why it keeps on happening that this number is not yet on the do not call list, but instead it will be transferring to another sales associate, or what I mean, customer service, to another customer service representative station. Kumbaga, there's this one cubicle, this is my cubicle, and then na-receive ko ito na call from that caller, that this caller don't want to receive any call from us. Then I already put the number on the do not call list. And then this number will actually been transferred to the to this next agent, to me, next agent, okay? So this number is not yet on the do not call list of this agent. And then if this agent already put this number on the do not call list, then it will be transferred to another agent. That's what we noticed because once we call the number, it is still on our system, and then I'm gonna check out to this agent next to me. I just called that number earlier and already put it on the do not call list. Why is it you already called that one again? We don't know what is the real problem, but there is a law for that one. Okay. All right, class. So I hope you learned something tonight. I need you to remember that we'll be having an activity for this one. Think of an item. Okay. Now for your assignment. Thank you, but we'll be having an assignment. Now for your assignment. Okay. Think of an item. Think of an item that you're going to sell. Think of an item that you're going to sell, and then remember to apply the technique in selling an item. All right. If you have any questions, send me a PM to RGC. Apply the technique in selling an item. It could be you can offer freebies, promos. It depends on you. Okay. All right. So thank you. Thank you for listening, and then see you again, everyone. Good night.